Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, a.k.a. Derringer. Today is Sunday, November 4th, and you are listening to episode 181 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside 2 news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So how is everybody doing today? My voice is a little shot, and I'll talk about why during my first topic this week, but suffice to say, I've played a heck of a lot of Planetside 2 this past week and this past weekend, and I'll probably cough a bunch during the show, so I'm going to apologize in advance for that if I do. But let's just dive right into this week's show rather than talk about all the fun that I've been having this past week in game, because I'm worried I might lose my voice at some point in the middle of this show, and we certainly don't want that to happen. So what's in store for this week's show? Well, first I want to talk about the Extra Life charity streams that happened over the weekend. After that, I want to talk about the Meltdown Alert tiebreaker system and a recent change to it. Then I want to show you all some awesome new dynamic backgrounds and finish this week with some US East-West server merge discussion and my thoughts. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. So like I said, first I want to talk about the Planetside 2 Extra Life charity streams, and obviously I've been pretty much hyping my own for the longest time, so I wanted to actually talk about that today. And so yesterday, if you had a chance to see me out on Twitch, I played Planetside 2 for 12 straight hours yesterday. I started at noon, or a little afternoon, and ended at midnight on Saturday. And I gotta tell you, I love Planetside 2, but when you need to force yourself to keep playing and playing and playing, I'm not as young as I used to be, and I usually like to sit down and play games for a couple hours just to unwind at the end of the day. So doing it for a full 12 hours, I'm not going to lie, it really felt like work. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, it was like work because clearly I was asking for donations to charity. And that's the whole reason why I was doing that full 12-hour stream. Now, of course, I'm not as awesome as some of the folks that are out there doing stuff for Extra Life who gamed for a full 24 hours straight. I just couldn't commit to that with everything else that goes on in my daily life. But I was able to commit to that 12 hours. And yeah, I took a couple breaks here and there and played some commercials for Extra Life with some pretty inspiring stories about some of the kids that have to go through the different hospitals and stuff like that. And but again, I pretty much played nonstop for that full 12 hours. And while my gameplay may have been crappy because I'm not the best player, I still had a good time, and really just have to say thank you again to everybody who came out and watched my stream, to the bunch of you out there that made donations directly towards my account for Extra Life. I had set an initial goal of $100, and I'm happy to say that I received a total of $112, including the donation that I made, because like I told you guys last week, my wife was running a 5K that morning. It was her first 5K ever, so whatever her final time was for her 5K, that was going to be the amount that I was going to donate to my own stream. So her final time was 42 minutes and 8 seconds for her 5K. And yeah, I know if you run 5Ks a lot, that's not the fastest time, but my wife is not a runner, and this was the first time she was ever running a 5K in her life. She was doing the Couch to 5K program, so it's not like she wasn't doing some training up to it for the past 8 weeks. But we were in the middle of a torrential downpours while she was running this, and I'm just proud as hell of her for just doing it, even doing it at all. Because like I said, my wife is not an athlete. She didn't play sports growing up. She didn't do anything like that. So for her to get out there and want to run and do something as awesome as this, it is really inspiring to me as well. And again, the main reason that I wanted to use it as a kickoff point for my Extra Life stream, a charity drive. So again, I put down almost half of the initial amount that I was trying to get. So it really didn't make it too difficult for other people watching my stream to kind of push me over the top. And like I said, there were a number of you out there who definitely made that donation. And I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. It means a hell of a lot to me. And even though it's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, it'll mean a lot to the charities themselves. I mean, I received the email this morning from Extra Life with how they did over the entire event, and they raised a total of $8.8 million. $8.8 million freaking dollars in one 24-hour period. That's absolutely mind-blowing to me. I'm not going to lie. The fact that many people can get together and donate money, just playing games and having fun to help sick kids who are in some pretty shitty situations with the various hospitals that they're going to. They're stuck going to, basically. All my donations were going directly towards Boston Children's Hospital, part of the Children's Miracle Network itself, and I'm happy to have made the donation that I did, spending the time that I did, and getting the support from you guys out there like I did. It really, really means a lot to me. And just because the time is over, the Extra Life charity event is over, doesn't mean that you can't still give to Extra Life. I will include a link to my donation page on this week's show page, and if you're interested in making a donation, and even if it's $1, $5, it doesn't matter how much you give to this. It means just so much for this charity, and this is mainly the biggest charity that I have ever kind of thrown my weight behind. It just means an awful lot to me, and it means a lot to the gaming community itself that we've kind of embraced this one. And that kind of just segues nicely into the next thing, because if you guys missed it, Daybreak Games also did their Extra Life charity streams for this exact same thing. And part of me wonders if they copied me, because I said a little while ago I was doing it, but who knows? It's them as a company. Maybe they had it in the works for a long time and just kind of sprung it. I just don't recall seeing any advertisement from them that they were going to be doing it until basically Thursday of last week, that they were going to do a live stream on Friday. And unfortunately, they did the live stream right in the morning, which I think the majority of people in the U.S. who would be supporting it were at work and couldn't watch their live stream. So I think it was done at a not the best time, but a nice thing that they did is that they did have a quote-unquote stretch goal as part of the charity stream, that they would unlock 24 hours of double experience. And we hit those goals. You got, people watching their streams hit those goals and allowed everybody in game to have double XP for another 24 hours, which was really cool. Something nice that the devs could do is just a thank you for people that were making donations to them while they were playing. And I saw that it was primarily Drew, Roxy, and Paul that were playing on Friday morning. And then I know Roxy was doing various streams throughout the day yesterday and different things that she was playing. I saw Nick was doing charity streams yesterday as well. I thought he was getting a whole bunch of donations from Planetside 2 players, and that's frigging awesome. I love the fact that our community is so willing to get behind something like this and help out with it. it means an awful lot to me, and I know it means a lot to the folks who run Extra Life and get this going every year. And just based on this outpouring of support from the community, my community, the Planetside 2 community itself, I'll definitely be doing this next year as well. And I'm so glad that I signed up to do this year. Now, that all being said, I am fucking exhausted. I was up at 6 a.m. so my wife could get to Plymouth to run her 5K. Got home after that, immediately logged in and streamed for 12 hours straight. Went to bed immediately and then was up at 6 a.m. the next morning to go out to play soccer because I had a soccer game first thing this morning. And so, yeah, I'm really hitting the wall at this point. It's almost 8 o'clock Eastern right now. And I'm totally hitting the wall, and my voice is starting to suffer from it as well. So if this is a shorter show than usual, I'm going to apologize in advance because I am absolutely exhausted. And I'm not going to lie, I probably will play a small amount of Planetside 2 this week because, again, playing 12 hours straight really kind of sapped it out of me. But again, if you're still interested in donating, you can either just Google Extra Life and go to their main page and just make a direct donation. You can go to Extra Life. You can Google me under Derringer, and you'll find my page, make a direct donation. Or, again, I'll have the link in this week's show notes for you guys to go through and click if you'd like to. Again, even the smallest amount is awesome. And I can't thank everybody enough for all the donations that they made to help us raising that $8.8 million. It's fucking amazing. It's really all I can say about it. And with that, let's move on to more Planetside 2 type stuff on this week's show. And the second topic this week is about the Meltdown Alert. And this is something that I wasn't aware of, and I'm not sure how aware most of the community is regarding this, but apparently there is a system in place, and this goes back to, about a month ago. DPSO posted how they won an alert when the server was broken, and another player on Reddit, Shiralk, and I'm butchering that name, I'm sure, was doing some looking at this to try and find out why DPSO, who plays VS on Connery server, ended up winning the alert. And so he dug a little deeper and found on the PS2 alerter tool by IDEC, and found that it resulted in the alert resulted in a tie. And when he broke down the values of the tie, he found that NC had scored 32 points, TR had scored 33.3, and a whole bunch of string of numbers. And then VS had scored the exact same amount as TR. Yet VS won the alert. And he kind of wondered why that would happen. And then he went into a census program, and in that census program there was something which pointed out that VS equals 1, NC equals 2, and TR equals 3. So fast forward to a post this week where a Redditor named 9191978112021, yeah, great string of numbers, frigging amazing, did a little digging deeper into this to try to find out, why is Vanu winning an alert if it's a tie? And what it's really come down to in this post is that Paul responded to this post and confirming that if there's a tie in alert, what the system does is it first checks to see if Vanu are involved in the alert, if Vanu were one of the ones that tied, and if so, Vanu wins the alert. Doesn't matter who the other faction is. If the alert is between NC and TR, since NC has a value of 2 and TR has a value of 3, if those two were tied at the end of the alert, NC would automatically win the alert. So anytime that there's a tie in a and again, I'm just talking about the Meltdown Alert itself. This is the one that locks the continent itself. If there is ever a tie involving TR could never win the alert, which is so supremely unfair that it's kind of mind-boggling that something like this would be in, and there's not something more. There wasn't something more to kind of determine who would win a tie. I guess the good news out of this is that Paul says as of October 10th, that underlying logic has been scrapped, so no longer will it be that TR will not win a tied alert, but unfortunately they've changed it now so that they pick the two tied factions and then just randomize the winner. And I don't really like that in that either. I wish that there would be some other solution that would count in addition to territory, because right now it's based on territory. If territory is tied between two factions at the end of a Meltdown Alert, they should go to the next thing. Maybe it's large bases or something else on the continent itself. I have a bad taste in my mouth regarding this randomizing who is winning an actual alert when there's a tie at the end of it. I mean, worst case, if there's a tie at the end of a Meltdown Alert, maybe the continent stays open, if anything. I don't know how to feel about this, and I don't know that many players are aware that this is actually happening if there's a tie regarding a meltdown. Now, my next question is, how many meltdown alerts are there that are ending in a tie? And I mean, the number can't be very large, honestly. So I'm hoping maybe just me talking about it and the community being more aware of it means that this will be something that the devs kind of take a second look at, because just randomizing a meltdown alert tie is not the best way to do things as far as I'm concerned. Now again, I know I said it, but I'm going to say it again, that there can't be many ties when a final meltdown alert's happening. But again, if you're just randomizing them, because don't forget, when the meltdown alert ends, one faction gets 300 ISO and 250 certs. That's for first place. The second gets 100 ISO and 100 certs. I mean, that's a pretty big discrepancy for just randomly choosing one over the other, especially if, let's just say, for example, the alert comes down to, Vanu's winning the alert, and then at the last second, TR comes in and ties it, and then do the randomization, Vanu still wins it. That would be very discouraging if I was a TR player at that particular time, because I just busted my balls trying to, push that alert to a tie or win it. And I don't know, it just doesn't seem fair the way that the system works. Again, this is more just a PSA than anything else, because I want more people to be aware that this is what's happening. And maybe, again, by just bringing some more light to it, that we could see some changes, some further changes to this, because I really don't think it's even fair in its current iteration. But with that, let's move on to this week's Veteran's Voice, courtesy of Romus.
If there is anything that I mention every week, it's teamwork. I'm always mentioning to do this, that, or the other thing with a few friends. Or, if you're short on manpower like me, just bloggins. As much as that wiener drives me batty, another body opens up a world of possibilities to your gameplay. Your mag rider is no longer a shoebox with a pellet gun stuck out the side, and your harasser can actually harass. And of course, you're at least aware of that goober charging up the other staircase, thanks to the gurgling screams of bloggins gaining another 10 pounds in lead shot. Friends make all the difference. You can prattle on and on about how you shot down that scythe from a kilometer away with a decimator, but unless your friend was there to share in the joy of making Rel's preposterous flying pancake into confetti, the joy is short-lived. Remember, the only difference between a scrub lord and a superman is learning from your mistakes. This week I'd like to give a big thanks to Redditor, who I can assume his name is pronounced Qvic, for asking the Planetside community if he should hang out with his TR buddies or play on his favorite eye candy faction, the NC. I promise my response to hanging out with your friends is not at all biased by my Terran Republic loyalties. Back to you, Derringer. What are you sniggering at, Bloggins? I am the least biased person you'll meet. Just because the NC are traitorous corporate pirates, and the Vanu are giant crystal-hugging space hippies, doesn't mean I hate them.
Thanks for that, Romus. I can't agree with you anymore. There's so many people out there that play Planetside as a solo or lone wolfing it, and it just boggles my mind the amount of people that can play this game like that when there's so much more that you can do playing with other people, playing with friends, playing with an outfit or anything like that. So I couldn't agree with you more. But with that, moving on to topic number 3, I want to talk about some dynamic backgrounds. And this was the user's name is JW Cruel. He took some of Planetside 2 Archive's still shots and used some photos and made them into actual dynamic backgrounds. And they're all images of just one singular shot of Planetside 2. Like the first one is of an NC soldier firing a Phoenix, but they all move slightly. They're cool. That's really all I got to say about them. And I really like what he did with them, and I'm hoping that the devs can get these into the game as soon as humanly possible, just because, like I said, they look so absolutely amazing, and they're so well done. I only wish that I had the skills to produce something like this. I should Google how to do this, because I'd love to do something like this. I'd love to get a drop pod and make it dynamic like he did, so that I could have that as an opening on my YouTube channel or anything like that. Just a really cool dynamic background. Like I said, there's so many good ones in here. So I want to give you guys a link to his Reddit post so you can actually go and take a look at them, just because they're just so beautifully done. Between the change that he made, it looks like he used After Effects to edit these, and then just using images that Planetside 2 Archives has been putting out there for years and years at this point. Just a lot of really cool stuff, and you guys should take a look at them if you haven't seen them yet. And with that, let's move on to our 4th and final topic this week. And that last topic is about merging the U.S. West and East Coast servers. Now, I want to make it perfectly clear that as it stands right now, the U.S. servers are not merging. N-O-T, not merging. So this is just completely an opinion piece at this point. But a user on Reddit named SmartDots pointed out that Connery's primetime population has declined excessively based on the fact that Soltech is now open, and a lot of the Chinese players or Asian players are now playing on Soltech instead of playing on Connery. And his suggestion is to combine Connery with Emerald at this point, so that there can be just one large U.S. server. Now, do I want to merge, or do I think we should merge Connery and Emerald? I've said it in the past. I've said yes. I've said no. I've gone back and forth on it. Currently, I'm still in the no category for merging. I think it's something that we would maybe want to take a second look at after the transfers to Soltech occur, because right now, don't forget, on Soltech, you can just create a new character and play it. You can't transfer an existing character over yet. That hasn't been released yet. I think it's something that the devs are going to probably look at after they have put that in place and then cut it off and said everybody who's there now is there, and that's that. That's the time to go back and take a second look at it. And I know if you were listening to my live stream, I said that I would love to see them merged just because I have a character on Connery, a Derringer character on Connery that's VS that has the Tobuscus decal that I want to, as a joke, use when I play with my outfit. And that's the only reason I'd like to merge those. I don't think that they should definitely be merged. And the main reason for that is they're just two separate places right now. And I don't think that they should be merging them. And really the biggest thing that's saying no at this point is that the devs still have not released what this big mic drop. Again, there's been lots of people speculating what it is. And I'm wondering if it is what I've heard, and I've heard from some people, some unofficial sources, that it could be a DirectX update, but it's not. No one's ever come out and confirmed that's what we're getting. I have not, the devs haven't come to me and said this is what it is. So at this point, I'm wondering if it is really a DirectX update to the game itself, that we're going to see players come back to the game that have left it because of an increase in playability of the game, for your machines to just play the game better than it currently does, and that might be why a lot of people have left. So I would like to have the devs put that quote-unquote mic drop into effect prior to talking about any server merging going forward at this point. And that's just going to be my stance until we find out what this project the devs have been working on really is and what it's really going to do to the game itself. Because if it does make such a performance difference to the game itself, there could be a lot of people who miss playing Planetside 2 and just aren't playing it for one reason or another, who might come back and play it some more if performance gets a lot better than it currently is. So that's just something that I think we need to play the wait and see game on before ever talking about merging servers again. And that's going to be my current stance on it going forward. But with that, let's move on to housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
And unfortunately, no emails this week. It was a quiet week on the email front, but that's fine. So that's it for this week's show. How can you get in touch with me of the show? Well, first off, visit my website, www.instantactionpodcast.com. Or you can email me at instantactionshow@gmail.com. You can call me, leave me a voicemail, 347-4VM-4PS2, or the numbers are 347-486-4772. You can follow the show on Twitter at InstActPodcast, or you can follow me on Twitter at The Derringer. But in closing, as always, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. But finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button.